Hello, welcome to the Daily English News program on Azərbaycan Televiziya with the most important events of the day. The summit of the heads of state and government of the member countries of the Organization of Turkic States will be held under the multi-Turkish era. The meeting is scheduled to be held in Astana on 3rd November. It will take decisions on key issues, approve official documents on projects in the sphere of economy, trade, transport and customs, sign the Astana Act and the Astana Summit Declaration. Following the summit, the current chairmanship is set to pass from Uzbekistan to Kazakhstan. 2023 has been declared the year of the rise of Turkish civilization in the Turkic world, and the city of Şuşa in Azerbaijan has been declared the cultural capital of the Turkic world. In recent years, Turkish unity has been strengthened by the friendship, brotherhood and successful strategy defined by President of Azerbaijan, İlham Aliyev, and the President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and has achieved great goals. The member states are entering a new stage in the strengthening of relations and the development of cooperation, more fully integrated and more closely united.
Türk Dövlətləri Təşkilatına üzv ölkələrlə
The strengthening of relations with member states of the Organization of Turkic States in all fields is one of the top priorities of Azerbaijan's foreign policy. Azerbaijan has always contributed to the close unity of the Turkic world and will continue to be committed to the goals of unity of the Turkic world.
31 October 2020, on this day, the fighting continued mainly in the directions of Agdara, Khojavan and Gopatli. The Azerbaijani army destroyed a number of enemy military equipment, including 2 tanks, 3 infantry fighting vehicles, merchant rocket systems, cannons, ASA anti-aircraft missile system, and an electronic warfare station. On the 35th day of the war, President İlham Aliyev gave an interview to the German television channel ARD. On that day, the military equipment of the Armenian army, significant number of personnel and a reconnaissance and sabotage group were destroyed. According to the information of the General Prosecutor's Office of 31 October, since the beginning of the war, 91 civilians have been killed on the Azerbaijani side, 404 people have been injured, 2,465 houses, 97 apartment blocks, and 455 civilian facilities have been rendered unusable. And there were still 8 days to go before the great victory. Prime Minister of Armenia Nikol Pashinyan constantly talks about peace and sometimes dwells on the importance of finding the way of peaceful coexistence with Azerbaijan, whereas he does not need to climb the mountain if he wants the peace. He just needs to take steps towards peace. But what can be seen is that Pashinyan is more prone to peace games as opposed to being interested in the peace itself. So where will these games lead Armenia?
Following the restoration by Azerbaijan of its territorial integrity and sovereignty, the premises about the time of signing of the peace treaty with Armenia became one of the most burning topics, because the existing situation opens extensive opportunities for the peace to prevail in the South Caucasus. And if these opportunities are used to the maximum extent, it would be possible to change the future fate of the entire region. But the processes unfolding in the region show that there are some circles who are not interested in the restoration of peace and tranquility in the geography that we live in. Nikol Pashinyan talks about the peace as it is always the case.
During 30 years, we witnessed how Armenia avoided negotiations, how it acted in order to preserve the continuation of the occupationary status quo. At the same time, following the patriotic war, we saw the same behavior from Armenia. But Armenia must understand that the situation is not only what it was 30 years ago, it's not even what it was 3 years ago.
It should be noted that recently there is a growing interest among Western political circles to the behavior that could damage the peace prospects. This demonstrates that they have not completely alienated themselves from double standards approach in relation to the South Caucasus. From one side, the European Union calls on Azerbaijan and Armenia to sign the peace treaty by the end of the year. On the other side, France remains to be one of the malicious international political centers trying to spoil the regional peace process.
If we take a look at the history of the conflict, they were third countries which provided substantiated aid to Armenia in the 90s, and it occupied Azerbaijani lands with the assistance of the third countries.
From this perspective, the European Union must confess that some Western countries which have common interests with the official Paris are currently playing the role of the greatest obstacle to the peace in the South Caucasus. Therefore, it does not seem easy for the official Yerevan that Armenia, which is under the influence of its patrons, will make a step towards peace.
The Azerbaijani government comprehensively guarantees the peaceful residence of citizens of Armenian origin in the Karabakh Economic Region. Head of the State Security Service of Azerbaijan, Colonel General Ali Naghiyev, said at the meeting with the Secretary General of the Council of Europe, Maria Pejcinovic Buric. Informing the Secretary General about the current security situation in the region, Ali Naghiyev noted that Azerbaijan has always been interested in establishing lasting peace. He also spoke about the work and efforts undertaken by Azerbaijan in the name of ensuring well-being, fundamental and reliable stability in the region, the importance of normalizing relations with Armenia and the imminent signing of a peace treaty. In the first 9 months of this year, the number of tourists arriving in the country increased by 32.1% compared to the same period last year, reaching 1,535,000 people. The structure of the geographical origin of tourists has changed in comparison with previous years. The number of Europeans visiting Azerbaijan increased, while the number of Arab tourists decreased. The number of arrivals from the Gulf countries decreased by 9.3%, while the number of arrivals from the European Union increased by 39.5%. These indicators are a sign of recovery in the sector. It should be noted that in 2019, the year before the pandemic, more than 3 million tourists came to the country and foreigners spent about $2.6 billion in Azerbaijan that year. You can get in touch with us by contacting AzTV hotline number 051-511-1956, through which you can report events you encounter as well as share your suggestions and remarks. You can also contact us via our WhatsApp and Telegram accounts. That was all for today. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.